In the kingdom of awakens, nestled between mountains haunted by spirits and a forest so dense that the sun never pierced its heart, there reigned legendary prosperity. But this prosperity came at a price, an ancient debt incurred by the first king, Adjoa, who had triumphed over a forest spirit using forbidden magic. The vengeance of the dying spirit had transformed into a bloodthirsty curse. Every generation, twins would be born into the royal lineage. The elder would inherit the throne and a life of service, while the younger would be bound to the vengeful spirit, her blood becoming the seal that maintains the balance between the world of men and the world of shadows. On her 18th birthday, the younger would be sacrificed during the blood tears ceremony to appease the spirit and ensure another generation of peace. Our story begins with the birth of the princesses Adjoa and Akosua, two sisters, two nearly identical faces. But destiny had cruelly separated them from the cradle. Adjoa, the elder by a few minutes, was raised in the light of the courts, learning the art of governance, diplomacy, and the handling of the royal scepter. Akosua, the younger, was confined to the secret quarters of the palace, raised by the priestesses of the sanctuary. She was taught the ancient rites, the properties of sacred plants, and the weight of sacrifice. Despite their separation, an inexplicable bond united them. They felt each other's joys and sorrows like an echo within their own souls. As they approached their 18th birthday, a dark prophecy began to circulate among the elders. A seer, his eyes clouded by visions, had murmured, "When the twin moons rise over the still waters, the blood of the younger will not flow alone. The blood bond will break the chain, or strengthen it for eternity." Of course, here is the English translation of your text, which maintains the dramatic and poetic tone of the original. The day of the ceremony arrived. The full moon, large and red like a wound, was reflected in the sacred lake. Akosua, dressed in a simple white tunic, stood on the ancestral stone, her face strangely serene. Adjoa, adorned in royal regalia, stood beside their father, the king, but her heart was pounding. For the first time, she was truly looking at her sister, not at the shadow to which she had been conditioned not to become attached. In Akosua, she saw not a willing victim, but a young woman of quiet strength, whose eyes reflected the same fear and love that she felt. The high priest raised the sacrificial dagger, a blade of obsidian, that drank the moonlight. As the blade descended, Adjoa cried out, "No." It was not a cry of rejection of her duty, but a cry born from the visceral bond that united them. As if the cry were an incantation, Akosua, instead of bracing for the blade, took a step back. The ground began to tremble. The waters of the sacred lake boiled. The spirit of the forest, a shadowy form made of twisted branches and gleaming eyes, materialized. "The bond has spoken," it roared, its voice the rumble of distant thunder. "You both have the blood of King Adjoa. You both have the power to break or to fulfill the cycle. The curse will only be lifted when the bloodshed is that of the true heir, not through sacrifice, but through atoned betrayal." Panic seized the assembly. The king, pale, gripped his scepter. The high priest stood frozen, the dagger held aloft. It was then that the twins looked at each other. In that silent gaze, years of separation, unspoken words, and repressed sisterly love merged. They needed no words. Akosua, who had spent her life preparing to die for Adjoa, understood that their true strength lay not in the sacrifice of one, but in the union of both. Adjoa, who had been raised to reign alone, realized that her first duty was to her sister. "I won't let you do this," Adjoa murmured, stepping in front of Akosua. "And I will not let you bear this burden alone," Akosua replied, her hand finding her sister's. As their hands joined, something extraordinary happened. A golden fire emanated from their palms, a blend of Adjoa's royal power and Akosua's ancestral magic. The light struck the spirit head-on. It did not scream in pain, but in surprise, then in relief. The shadowy form began to dissipate. "The blood has spoken," whispered the spirit, its voice now barely a breath. Adjoa's betrayal was to take a power that was not his alone. Your redemption is to give a power that only you possess, unconditional love. The curse is broken. The light from the twins flooded the clearing, purifying the air tainted by centuries of hatred. When it faded, the spirit had vanished, and the sacrificial stone was nothing but an ordinary rock. The twins of the blood curse were no more. In their place stood Adjoa and Akosua, the twin queens of awakens. They ruled together, ushering in a new era, where the wisdom of the palace and the magic of the ancient rites united to create a kingdom stronger and more just than ever before. It is said that their reign was so prosperous that twins, once an omen of ill fortune, became a symbol of luck and perfect balance. They had proven that the blood flowing in their veins was not a curse, but a legacy of strength, and that the greatest power lay not in domination or sacrifice, but in the union of differences.